Now, I'm not normally one to buy into a conspiracy theory, but today, let's make an exception. About a month ago, the news was leaked prior to an episode of AEW Dynamite that the person hosting the debate between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy was Eric Bischoff, which turned out to be true. On a subsequent live stream, Jericho then called out the person that leaked the information, calling them a spy. When we had the debate and Eric Bischoff was announced on Reddit, and we know who the spy is, by the way, we know he'll never be back in AEW. An NXT reject was a spy, so print that. Now, at the time, people took this with a pinch of salt, as tensions run high on Wednesday nights, and it could just be a little paranoia setting in. However, new evidence has come to light that somewhat compounds the theory. According to a new report from Fightful Select, Tino Sabatelli has returned to the Performance Center after being released earlier this year by WWE as part of their mass firings. And wouldn't you know it, he wrestled one match on AEW Dark, going by the name Sabby in a losing effort to Best Friends, and hasn't been back since. The report goes on to say that Sabatelli was in fact the name that Jericho was referring to, not confirming whether he did actually leak the information, but showing that he is at least the person that the people within AEW blame for it. Now, this might seem far-fetched, but is it really out of the realms of possibility that WWE would pretend to release somebody and send them over to AEW to try and gain their trust and relay information back to them? Or they could have actually released Tino but paid him to go to AEW and leak info as well. Either way, he's back at the Performance Center now. Well, enough with the conspiracy theories, let's get on to some actual news. Following NXT TakeOver 31, it was revealed that the NXT Championship match was called for an early finish, as both Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor had some pretty nasty injuries. While we don't know the full extent of O'Reilly's injuries right now, though he revealed he will be returning to action next week, we do know that Balor broke his jaw in 2 places. While the previous NXT title holder Karrion Kross was forced to vacate the title following a separated shoulder in his match with Keith Lee, it looked as though Balor would be safe and not have to give it up. But unfortunately, now the opposite may be true. On Wednesday's episode of NXT, it was revealed that Balor had undergone surgery for his broken jaw last Friday, and that NXT were going to wait a couple of weeks to see how the champ is recovering before making a decision regarding the championship. So basically, if Balor doesn't heal up quick enough, they'll take the title off him. It sounds like NXT are holding out hope that they don't have to take this measure, repeating what happened with Karrion Kross. But if the injuries keep piling up, they may be forced to take action. Someone who could potentially challenge for that title if it does get vacated, however, is Wade Barrett, who continues to tease an in-ring return soon. Thank you for being an awesome pledgehammer on Patreon, Ryan B. Bad. Barrett was recently interviewed by BT Sport, where he said regarding an in-ring wrestling return, "I feel like if I want to, or if the time is right, or if the opportunity that excites me comes up, that I'm close to being ready to go." Barrett hasn't wrestled a match since 2016, so it may take a little bit to scrape away that ring rust, but Barrett was at one point one of the most exciting prospects in all of WWE, and would definitely draw some eyes if he were to return to the ring in NXT. But while NXT recently changed the location of their shows to their new Capitol Wrestling Center, WWE will be sticking with the ThunderDome for seemingly quite some time. A report from earlier this week from both PW Insider and Wrestling Observer stated that WWE had extended their ThunderDome contract with the Amway Center for another 4 weeks, putting them right through November, which will include Survivor Series. And now on Wrestling Observer Live, Bryan Alvarez said that he heard that WWE will be sticking to the ThunderDome until January 2021 at the earliest. This is despite Florida Governor Ron DeSantis opening up sports events to hold full capacity crowds, meaning stadia can pack their events to the rafters if they wanted to, something you would think WWE would be chomping at the bit to do, but it seems they're taking the smarter and safer option of continuing with their virtual fans for now. And even when they get back on the road, don't expect WWE to be right back to business as usual with house show touring schedules and such, as the ever reliable WrestleVotes has tweeted out to say, "I've been told that the typical weekly live event loop, Friday TV plus house show Saturday and Sunday plus Monday TV, all of which in different locations, won't return to the WWE schedule until 2022. But as WWE will be staying put in the ThunderDome for a while, it means we can see the returns of some top stars, which you've seen already with the likes of Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, the former of which has quickly become the best thing in WWE, and the latter being the current Intercontinental Champion, who was drafted in round 4. Come on, WWE. And now on tonight's episode of SmackDown, we get to see another huge return as Daniel Bryan will be stepping foot in the ThunderDome for the first time. It was announced on WWE.com, because what are surprises anymore? Bryan was last seen in the Intercontinental Championship tournament, losing to AJ Styles, who'd be crowned the champion. So perhaps he could come back and start a feud with the current champion, Sami Zayn. That would be great. Thanks. Please do that. But while Bryan's return can only mean good things for the blue brand, it's another star that's been having the spotlight lately. I'm of course talking about Titus O'Neil, who was drafted before Aleister Black. Come on, WWE. I'm talking of course about Roman Reigns. While Reigns' feud with Jey Uso has exceeded all expectations going into it, becoming possibly the best feud in WWE for quite some time, fans are eyeing the future and what else Reigns has in store once he's vanquished Jey. Some fans have speculated that with the family-heavy narrative of this feud with Jey Uso, there's another Samoan ready to stand up to Reigns. The Rock versus Roman Reigns has continued to be teased via Roman Reigns' advocate, manager, associate person, whatever he calls himself these days, Paul Heyman, who spoke to ESPN's Ariel Helwani about whether this is all leading to Reigns versus Rock at WrestleMania. Oh, I'm sure Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson sure hopes so. I mean, let's examine this from a realistic point of view. Roman Reigns never mentioned Dwayne Johnson's name. Paul Heyman never mentioned Dwayne Johnson's name. So you can't categorize this as the biggest star on Fox Network, let alone the biggest star on SmackDown, let alone the biggest star in WWE is looking to call out a bigger star. The Rock mentioned Roman Reigns' name. The Rock called out Roman Reigns. The Rock is positioning himself to get the celebrity rub off Roman Reigns. And you know what? God bless The Rock for doing it. He's always thinking, he's very sharp, he's no dumb guy, he's always thinking box office. Somehow Heyman just managed to make Roman Reigns sound like more of a star than The Rock, so kudos. While the teasers pile up, it remains to be seen whether WWE will actually pull the trigger on Reigns attempting to vanquish The Rock, or maybe Vince will just get Brock Lesnar back for another go. And speaking of Vince being crazy, appearing on an interactive Q&A for Hannibal TV, former WWE star Chris Masters spoke about Vince McMahon and some of the crazy stories surrounding him. Masters at one point would recall how, on an annual flight to their Tribute to the Troop show, Vince McMahon tried to force straight-edge CM Punk to drink alcohol. Vince was trying to peer pressure CM Punk into having a drink, and I wouldn't really know what to do either if I was CM Punk, because part of me, maybe Vince is testing him to see if he could get CM Punk to break his will, and then that'll make Vince lose respect for him or whatever. It went from CM Punk drinking to now, hey, if you're such a shooter, CM Punk, how about you take on, I think it was first Shelton Benjamin, and then after that it was Carlito, because Carly would not shoot flirt, but kind of mess with Maria Kanellis and flirt with her, and I'm pretty sure CM Punk and Maria were together again at the time, which then apparently devolved into Punk and Shelton brawling for a bit, which ended with Benjamin coming out on top due to his amateur wrestling background. Yeah, that makes sense. Someone attempting to force CM Punk to drink would then be used in a storyline in later years, when Chris Jericho and Punk feuded for the WWE Championship. Now, as a former AEW champion, Jericho and AEW have been under a little fire from fans for pushing too many former WWE stars. During an interview with Asbury Park Press, AEW Executive Vice President Cody addressed the criticism, saying, "You don't put someone in a box based on the beginning of their career. That's the point of pro sports and the arts. You can completely combine them in this regard. If this is your life's work, you work on it every day." And the individual that was Luke Harper in WWE, Mr. Brody Lee, that individual has grown as a wrestler. He's better bell to bell, he's considerably better on the mic, he's learned more experience. It's weird, in wrestling people like to keep you confined to where you were, and I don't believe in that. I simply believe in growing. And growing is what AEW were hoping to do with their anniversary show on Wednesday night, which managed to increase their viewership slightly to 826,000 viewers, while NXT netted 651,000. This is only an increase of 73,000 viewers for AEW, which may be considered a disappointment considering how much emphasis and build was put upon their anniversary show. But now we end today on a sour note, as GCW recently held its 3-day independent wrestling event known as The Collective, and following that show, there have been at least 3 positive COVID-19 results. Dan the Dad, AC Mack, and Cabana Man Dan all revealed that they had tested positive, and Ring of Honor responded by pulling all of their talent who were at The Collective from their own tapings. GCW is still set to hold its next event in California tomorrow. Hey you! Did you know that there's over 30% of you watching right now that aren't subscribed to WrestleTalk? Well, you should be. Subscribe and enable notifications to always on so you get notified for the latest wrestling news, which we upload 6 days a week. Is Vince McMahon set to bury Andrade? Press the video to the right to find out more, and press the video below that to watch Adam Blompier's latest board game video on Phenomenerds about 10 awesome co-op games you can buy right now. Subscribe here for daily wrestling news videos. I've been Corporate Chopper. Jam that jam.